You mentioned GMOs separately from hybrid seeds.
Yes.
So what are GMOs?
When you go to GMOs, they are genetically modified. That the word itself says it. They are actually man-made seeds, where they are for plant origin, and where using technology, lab technology, seeds of different varieties, sometimes plant and animals, are mixed together to achieve certain desired traits in the lab, and then released to the market to then grow within other natural habitats. And the science is showing clearly that they have horrendous negative effects, both to the soil, to the other plant kingdom, if they are plants, and to those of us who consume them, they have been associated with cancers again. So when you combine them, you combine the GMO plants or seeds with glyphosate, which they require to grow, because some of those GMOs are designed specifically, listen to this, not to die from glyphosate.
Yes.
That's very strange.
Yes.
In other words, if you pour glyphosate on seeds of plants that are not GMO, they will die. But if you pour glyphosate or spray glyphosate on seeds that are GMO, they'll just shake the glyphosate and continue growing.
That's terrifying.
So clearly these are monster kind of plants, and you're expected to eat them as a meal. And you're supposed to be normal out of that abnormal encounter. And quite frankly, on a serious note, we are seeing that correlation right now in the US. The US is GMO country. Brazil is GMO country. South Africa is GMO country. What do they have in common with COVID-19? There are much higher cases of COVID-19.
Yeah.
Where there is GMO, there's glyphosate, almost always. 80% of the global market or supply of GMOs are what they call herbicide tolerant. They are designed to use glyphosate. And listen to this, use more glyphosate. So those who produce glyphosate are making more money. And unfortunately, listen to this again. The companies that own the patents for GMOs are the same companies that have the patents for glyphosate. So they make money from the poison that is the agrochemical, and they make more money from the seeds that are poisoned, and they feed you with that. They make you sick, you get diabetes or cancer, and then their friends in the pharmaceutical industry make more money from you until you finally die.
Then
is that really fair?
Generation.
Then you go into the next generation.
That's terrible.
In fact, now that you mentioned about this next generation, the latest research coming, published in Nature, which is a world top recognized magazine, has shown that glyphosate, this is how evil this molecule is. This molecule of Roundup does not just affect you and me right now. They affect you and me to a third and fourth generation of offsprings. But they damage DNA such that this thing the toxins from glyphosate affect your DNA, get stored in your DNA, passed on to your first generation, the middleman first, but the second, third, and fourth generation of your offspring will suffer from malformations, from cancers, and from the damages of DNA that they inherited from their grandmother or grandfather. This is published science. So this is a very, very evil molecule that actually affects even future generations, to the extent that the predictions are the fourth generation, from a reproductive point of view, will not be productive, will be sterile. Because it's among other areas, it also affects the reproductive ability of human beings. So this is not just eugenics or killing you as a person, but it stores the memory to damage your offspring into the future. To the extent that if this progression continues, by the fourth generation, your offsprings will not be able to procreate. Now, this is not Dr. Mokaya sharing this from on top of his head, or some African voodoo. This is published in Nature, one of the top magazines globally. That is mind-boggling, even for me as a physician, as a public health specialist. It's mind-boggling that that kind of product can still be allowed to be in the market. And of course, to tell you how serious it is, in the US already, the sperm count for the males is already less than 50%. In some areas, it's up to less than 25%. Same with Europe, all those areas where they've been using this glyphosate for many years. So if we as Africans are allowed to come here, it's not even a facility control agent. It's an existential threat for humanity to become non-existent. And it's not only doing this to human beings. Listen to this. Doing the same with animals. Doing the same with the soil. There is an existential threat to the ecosystem from this one agrochemical.